Okay, thank you.
I was like, do not like. Well,
I say any answer.
yeah, I was just honest. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very sorry.
Okay.
Open again.
Oh,
Oh, was that you?
And I couldn't reach the center.
Yeah.
They haven't fixed the AC yet.
I didn't bring my car. I knew it was like to be done.
Oh, the good thing is we're recessing next month. So
Well, which is true, but, you know, yeah.
hopefully they,
But I brought my little one, it's not gonna last more than. Oh. Something's wrong with me, the only thing was, okay, so, you know, I'll bring it the next time.
Truck guys are all going. So, yeah, hey, guys. They do a good job. I'm happy.
Good, good.
You just ran in?
I went from the wrong side. The other way, the bar.
The only place open.
About a minute, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
I had to park my car outside by the fire station. James isn't.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the last person there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to our Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18. At this time, I wish to introduce Sophia and Nene, 16-year-old sensation, graduate of Salt Lake Elementary School, product of Moanalo Intermediate School. She'll be singing the national anthem and Hawaii Pono'i. And I would like to thank Marianne and Clifford Nene, her parents, for allowing her to come and sing the national anthem in Hawaii Pono'i. Let's please stand for.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Vai I pono I nana I como I kalani ali I ke ali I makualani e kameha Mehae na kawae pale me ka ihe maku lani e kameha mehae na kawae pale me ka ihe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sophia and Nene. Marianne and Clifford, thank you for allowing your daughter to show up her meeting. Anthem.
Oh.
That was a treat.
Yes. Oh.
Okay, let's start with a roll call of our board members to see if we have a quorum. Madam Secretary, you want to do that?
Thank you, Chair. Starting off with Larry Baird. James Kavika Gower, not present. Lorene Godfrey,
I'm here. Thank you.
thank you. Nicole Hine,
Here.
Joseph Amura,
Here.
Patty Igawa, and David Yomes.
Here.
Okay, so we have a quorum, sir.
Okay, let's start our meeting. I have no announcements as chair at this time. Let's start with the Honolulu Fire Department.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Captain Todd Cabral. I'm from the Mokulele Fire Station, right across the street. I'll be reporting on July's incident statistics for 2024. As far as fires, there's only one activated alarm with no fire in this area. Medical emergencies were 48 total. Motor vehicle collisions involving pedestrians, there was one. And a motor vehicle collision, no pedestrian, just one. The fire safety tips and announcements, is a back to school fire safety. Educating students on what they can do to stay safe during the school year is important and often overlooked. College students living away from home should take a few minutes to ensure they are living a fire safe environment. Don't overload outlets, keep lamps, light fixtures, and light bulbs away from anything that can burn. Never use an extension cord with large appliances like refrigerator. Cook only where it is allowed. Keep the cooking area clean and free of anything that can burn. If a fire starts in a microwave, keep the door closed and unplug the unit. If a disaster happens, knowing who to call and where to meet is an important part of the emergency planning for you and your family. Pick one main contact locally and one contact out of town who may be easier to reach during a disaster. That's it for the safety tips.
Board, any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department? Hearing none. Audience, any questions for the fire department? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
Bringing up the Honolulu Police Department, Pro City Station, D3.
Hi, good evening, Aliamanu Neighborhood Board. I'm Lieutenant Iwasaki, District 3. I have the reported incidents report. So motor vehicle thefts, June 2024 was 4, July 2024 was 5. The burglaries was 1 compared to 8. So there was an uptick in burglaries, but not in the Foster Village area. Thefts were 5. July 2024 was 4. And for car break-ins, June 2024 was 2. And we had 1 in July of 2024. The safety tip of the month, like HFD said, with students going back to school, please slow down around the school zones and abide by all posted speed limit signs. Be aware of pedestrians in the crosswalk. And then I have more of a detailed report here for Foster Village, beat 384. Let's see. So the auto theft that happened in Foster Village was the 1200 block of Kukila Street on June 28, 2024 at 7 o'clock. To July 1st, 2024 at 07:58 hours. Driver's side door pried open, damage to tinted windows and ignition punch. The console removed and they weren't able to steal the vehicle. So it's an attempted auto theft. There was an auto theft, 1100 block of Kukila Street. So it's the same area on 7/23/2024 at 9:30 p.m. This one was rental vehicle was stolen from front of the residence. Also a theft of moped, 4300 block of Olaloa Street. This was July 3rd, 2024, between 7 in the morning to 6:30 p.m. Moped taken from front driveway of residence. And a damages case, 4300 block of Olaloa, July 29th, 2024, between 6 p.m. and the next day at 10:30 a.m. Unknown suspect damaged complainant's front windshield with unknown means. And I know Board Member Baird wanted for the DUI reports. So we didn't have any roadblocks recently. However, I just wanted to report the DUI arrests made in that area. So we had one that was a motor vehicle collision related, so accident related. DUI arrests. Another one made fronting Radford High School, resulted from a traffic stop made. And another one that was made also as a result of a traffic stop. So we didn't conduct any sobriety checkpoints recently, but it'll continue again. We kind of changed the locations of it, so yeah.
Good.
Board, any questions for the Honolulu Police Department, Pro City? Mr. Barry.
Thank you for that report, and it was much better than the reports we've been getting in the past. It's more thorough. It gives us a lot of information, food for thought. I'm sorry?
I think you cannot hear you.
Oh, is that better? Okay. Lieutenant, how do you spell your last name?
It's Iwasaki.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That was a good report.
Any other questions for the lieutenant? Mr. Omura?
Did I hear correctly when you said 5 deaths?
Oh, thefts.
Oh,
Yeah.
theft.
Theft, yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah, I wouldn't report.
no,
What you
because we
said,
say we
yeah.
never. He and I
What
were
you
both
said.
saying we never heard that before, so
yeah,
we
yeah.
both heard death.
Yeah, no, yeah. And then the burglary too, I wanted to add, it wasn't, there was none in Foster Village, but Navy Keiki Hale, the school was broken into, so they stole their computers and stuff like that. But yeah,
David, I have one more.
Mr. Baird?
Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of stupid people driving mopeds. They break the speed limit, they break the noise limit, they pop wheelies. They're doing all kinds of things. Now, I know I can't call you guys and say, hey, this is happening, because by the time I get off the phone, they're gone. And I don't know where they went. Most of them are young kids. We have some in Foster Village that are under 10 years old, driving mopeds, golf carts, and everything like that inside Foster Village with no helmets, no adult supervision. It's like a playground. And I would like to see something stepped up, especially inside Foster Village, before somebody gets hit. These kids don't even stop at stop signs. So one of these days, they're going to get plowed. And if they don't pay attention, then there's going to be trouble. But even on the roadways, I don't know what the rules are anymore between a bicycle and a moped. Who can drive them on the sidewalk? How do they have to drive on the road? I've asked several people, including people that are bicyclists. They don't know either. Is this something that we should take up with the Honolulu bike? Something? I don't know the name of it. Or is there anybody that writes rules for mopeds so that the people that ride these mopeds have to follow these rules? I don't know any of them.
Oh, definitely. The moped laws are all set, and our officers do enforce the mopeds and stuff like that. We also have a e-bike task force now that goes, and educates these kids on the e-bikes, and they're supposed to be wearing helmets too. So I know in the past month, there's a lot of citations being given out now in
Good.
District 3. So we enforce from the stadium, as you know, all the way to Kunia.
All right.
So we have a task force, but we can add that moped to that task force, so they can also enforce those rules too. But mopeds have been around forever, and they have to be licensed. That's the problem with e-bikes now. There's no licensing for it. So it's very hard for us and they can be on the sidewalk, they can be on the road. So there's no really set, they did come up with laws recently for it, but it's still kind of, in the gray area. So
Right.
that needs to be,
So how can we make an impact on getting those laws implemented?
Yeah, that would have to be with the legislative side.
Okay.
They're the ones that do the laws and stuff like that. So, I'm sure your council members go to those meetings. They can, propose bills and stuff like that for that. But it is in the makings. It is happening right now because of the e-bikes all over the place.
How can I get a copy of those laws that are being implemented now? Or-
I have a copy of it, so I can email it to.
Why don't you email it to David? And
Okay,
then David can get it to me. That's easier.
okay, yeah, there's a pretty good pamphlet on it.
Oh, good.
So with all the laws for the e-bikes.
All right. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the parents need to get involved. They're buying their kids mopeds, these electric bikes, and they're under 15 years of age. And they gotta set the rules at home. And I know these kids want these type of bikes and stuff, but they gotta say no. They cannot allow these kids to speed all over the roadway. And then when an accident happens, they wanna blame the government and everybody else. It stops with the parents. The parents need to enforce, do not buy these mopeds, do not buy these electric bikes. You just gotta say no. That's half of the problem. So parents, make sure you decide and make a good decision to keep your kids healthy so they won't get in an accident.
Thanks, Captain, yeah.
Another on this side too.
Mr. Moore?
Okay. To continue his vein of questioning, what about regular bikes? Because even the regular bike riders are all riding on the sidewalk. When I'm running, doing my run jogs and stuff. And I've also had complaints from a lot of my senior friends that are telling me that they feel like threatened, like they get afraid when they see a bike rider, just a regular bike, not e-bikes, just regular bikes ripping down. And these guys are going fast. I already had a friend that had an accident downtown side where she broke her ankle because the guy literally hit her and she recoiled, fell down and broke her ankle. Now, what are the rules? I thought that if a bike rider is just regular bicycle, not e-bikes and stuff, right? If they're on the sidewalk, there's someone walking towards them, aren't they supposed to walk their bike as well and not
Right.
ride their bike? I'm wondering what the law is, because
Well, definitely, or yield, yeah. So the law is, if it's a business, if it's a business area, if it's, I can't think of the word right now, but if it's, uh, I guess, considered a business area, you're not supposed to ride the bike on a sidewalk. Residential you can, but business areas you cannot. So you can get cited for that. Yeah, there is a law against that. So the King Street, for example, business area, you can't ride bicycles on a sidewalk there.
in the
Yeah.
Kalihi business area too, because I
I'm
run
sorry?
down Kalihi business area, Dillingham down to Nimitz and below where they
Should
get.
be, yeah. I'm not sure right now what the designated business areas are, but yeah, I don't think there's any residents right where you're talking about. There's some apartments here and there, but yeah, so I would have to research that to know what is designated as a business area or not. Yeah,
I'll ask the city and the state reps when they come up about that,
yeah,
because it's so confusing now that nobody seems to know what the actual law and the rules are, and
mhm,
both sides, both us pedestrians and the bike riders.
yeah. But like the captain said, I mean, just gotta use common sense too. You see a pedestrian, just either stop if it's narrow, stop, or move to the side, right? Yeah, move on the grass. I see a lot of bicyclists do that. Move on the grass so the pedestrian can walk. Yeah.
There's another thing. The situation, mopeds, electric bikes, motorcycles, it's a tough call for the police officers because of the liability factor. A lot of these kids, they run, they're on a moped, an electric bike, gonna run from the police. The motorcycles over 100 miles an hour running from the, was pretty much a liability thing. So the officer has to weigh the situation as to, should I pursue this or shouldn't I? If he does or she does, and someone gets in an accident, of course, the deep pockets of the government, the city, and they're gonna file a lawsuit. So you guys gotta understand also, the police really have their hands tied, and we need to think out of the box for other ideas, how we can get this addressed, because it's getting out of hand. Thanks, Captain. Audience, you have any questions? The lieutenant? Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Please, Lieutenant Yamasaki.
Good evening, Chair, Board, members of the community. Lieutenant Yamashita from the Kalihi area. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I just wanted to address some of the concerns that were brought up at the last meeting. I looked over the minutes, and I guess the first one was the cameras in the area of the Camp Catlin Drive and North Nimitz Highway. So I was able to review the area and like that. The only nearest camera that we did see or locate from me and my supervisors were Nimitz and Ohohia, west and eastbound. So I hope that answered your guys' question. I went further into it. I noticed you guys were looking for answers regarding the motor vehicle collision. We didn't get an exact report number for that, but I went into it and I looked at the motor vehicle collision that occurred in that area regarding a pedestrian, and the traffic investigator that was assigned the case also determined that there was no surveillance cameras in the area. So hopefully that helps answer your guys' questions. And then the second question that was brought up in the last meeting was regarding the noise complaints in the area of Salt Lake, Aliamanu, Alanapunani area regarding loud engines, speeding, people revving their cars or loud exhaust. So I went back and I looked at the statistics, and we had 11 calls for service on that day. I mean, for the month of July. Not necessarily saying that those calls were all for speeding or loud engines. Could have been anything else. Could have been like loud stereo, loud construction noise, but we had 11 calls for service for noise complaints in those areas. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Omura. Okay. And then before I go over the statistics, I was able to also give the chair aggregate from January all the way to the month of July. So I'm hoping that he can post it on your guys' Google Drive, and then you guys can take a look at it later again. So I'm gonna go over the statistics for the month of July real quick. So for assaults, we had 0, which is just remained the same from June. For auto thefts, we had 1, which remained the same from June. Burglaries, we had 1, and we also had 1 in June. We had 0 robberies, which remained the same in June. We had one sex assault, we had 0 in June, we had 0 assaults, and we had 0 in June. We also had 9 thefts, we had 5 in June, and we had 2 unauthorized entries into motor vehicles, and we had 0 in June. For the month of July, we had 637 calls for service. And then for June, we had 530. I want to just touch up on a couple of these cases real quick. For the burglary, it occurred in the Ukana Street area. It was this complainant, he was removing items or cleaning out his late father's house. And there were some contractors working on the residence. The contractor brought it to the attention of the complainant and stated that some of the tools were missing from the residence. So they went on, they further investigated, they found that some louvers were removed from the back window. They went on and they made a burglary case for the complainant. When it was assigned to a detective, he followed up with the complainant, and the complainant decided to withdraw his complaint. So he no longer wanted to prosecute the case. So that's what happened with that burglary case, that one that we had for July. And then just want to touch up on this sex assault also that we had. So the sex assault case that we did have didn't occur in your guys' area. It actually occurred in another district, but it was reported in your guys' area. So it happened in 2022. A male was sexually assaulted by his acquaintance, his roommate. The suspect is known, but his whereabouts are unknown at this time. And the case has been assigned to a sex crimes detective at this time. That's all I have for now. I can take any questions.
Board, any questions for the Kali Police? Mr. Baird?
Again, much better reports than we've been getting in the past. I appreciate it from both of you.
Thank you.
The only thing I'd like to see is every member here should get a copy of that so that we can review it, kind of digest it and work on it. So if you could do that, that would be even a step better in that direction. I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mr. Baird, I'll send those copies to you folks.
Thank you.
I have a copy. Audience, any questions for the Kali Police? Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you, sir.
Lieutenant's good job. I like your reporting this evening. Thank you so much. Moving on the agenda, we have this new segment called Neighborhood Board 18 Community Warriors of the Month. I wanted to start this Warrior of the Month segment. Anyway, before we start, this is not my white Scott. This is my glasses because I like pink and black. So anyway, I wanted to start this segment at our neighborhood board to honor those people who have made a difference in our community or are making a difference in our community. And we need to identify these people that's doing this contribution to our Salt Lake community and make it a better place to live, work, and play. I believe it is time and long overdue that our community recognize these movers and shakers of our community, and what better way to do that at our people's meeting, a people's house here at our neighborhood board meeting. With that said, let us start with the Warrior of the Month for August 2024. This power couple has been a force of kindness in the Salt Lake community. Their selfless acts of volunteerism through the years says it all for this wonderful couple. From painting out graffiti, working with the less fortunate and providing help for them, shaping the Salt Lake community in its early stages years ago, pushing for our library, parks, schools, and other necessities that was needed to shape this wonderful place that Salt Lake. Ladies and gentlemen, this dynamic duo is Ethel and Howard Shima. Ethel was the president of Salt Lake, the chair member of Neighborhood Board 18. Their hands are all over Salt Lake. Their acts of volunteerism is just awesome. Anyway, with that said, the Neighborhood Board wishes to present a certificate for both of them. On behalf of the Neighborhood Board 18, I just want to read what says on the certificate of recognition. This is from the Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18, recognizes that Howard and Ethel Shima for their outstanding service, commitment, and volunteerism given to our Salt Lake community over the years, and their efforts in helping shape our community to what it is today. are not forgotten by all of us. On behalf of Neighborhood Board 18, we thank you for the years of selfless acts you bestowed to our community. Thank you. That's for all that your hard work you did over the years, painting all that graffiti out in the community and doing so much more. Thank you, Howard and Ethel. Okay, let's move on in our agenda. Community events and concerns. I want to remind you folks that just to let everyone know that the neighborhood.
He wants to make a statement. Yeah.
Thank you, David. And I served 24 years on the board,
Talk to.
but looks like you got things under control. Your meeting place is much better. We used to meet at the
The Aliamanu Elementary School with those terrible seats for 5-year-olds.
the I just want to say that my wife was more active. You don't know it, but she was chairman of the Salt Lake Association for many years, you know. She did more, I think, for the community than myself, you know. But looks like you got things under control, David, you know.
I learned from the best. Just to let everyone know that this neighborhood board had pushed for the Likini Street Mini Park at 5375 Likini Street to be renamed after Howard Shima. With the help of Councilmember Radian Cordero and her staff, along with the full council, it has now become a reality. On August 13th, this Tuesday, 10 a.m., a dedication ceremony will take place and the park will be renamed the Howard Shima Likini Street Mini Park. Please show up if you have time to support and celebrate Mr. Shima's accomplishments. Thank you. Thank you, Ethel and Howard. The next thing on our events is the Salt Lake Waterway Cleanup and Genki Ball Talk, July 3rd and July 27th.
David? Look this way now and then. I'd like to say something, and this is directed to Howard. A lot of people don't know this, but Howard was a very, very big person to push for the widening of Salt Lake Boulevard.
That's right.
He had books and books and books of stuff he gave me when he retired. And I tell you, he did a lot for the Salt Lake Boulevard widening. And here in the next couple of years, hopefully we'll see a completion. But he did a lot for Salt Lake Boulevard, and I really appreciate him for that. Thank you.
He gave you books, but he gave me 2 paintbrushes. Anyway, anybody else want to say anything? Thank you for coming to our meeting, Ethel and Howard. Sure.
I wanted to take this opportunity to thank Chair Yomes for leading this effort. I'm a huge proponent of giving people their flowers while they're still here with us and not waiting for people to, pass on before we honor them. And we can honor them while they're here and look at them and be able to greet them with aloha and thanks and mahalo for all the work that they've done. And it's a testament to your leadership, Chair Holmes, that you took this from an idea, and I remember when you first brought it up, it was like a few years ago, and you stuck with it and persevered, pushed it up, the chain to Council Woman Cordero's office, then to the full council, and worked that. And thank you for that. Thank you for creating the spaces that we have that honor the people that have made such a difference in places that we call home. It's actually really tough to get people to name things while people are still alive. I know I worked at the university, they almost refuse to do that. And throughout the government systems, they don't like to do that. And the fact that you had pushed that through, I hope is an inspiration to all of us as board members on how we can do the small things and the big things to make things actually happen outside of just our meeting space and our conversations. And to you, Mr. and Mrs. Shima, thank you so much. I grew up here. I went to Salt Lake Elementary, Moana Intermediate, Moana High School. And although I didn't know you then, I am sure that the environment that I grew up in here in Salt Lake, Aliamanu, Moanalua, had your care all over it all those years. So thank you for setting that bar really high for us as servant leaders to follow. Mahalo. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you. Howard, do you remember the story about you in the morning and the police? Do you remember that story? Anyway, Mr. Shima was painting out graffiti in Salt Lake when it was like, I think 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And the police stopped him and thought he was actually painting graffiti at his age. But anyway, he explained to them, and I thought it was so hilarious that they thought he was doing a graffiti on the wall. But it all worked out, and I still can't believe how Mr. Howard, for many, many years, went into his pickup truck, loaded the paints and brushes, and patrolled Salt Lake, Foster Village, Aliamanu, looking for graffiti and painted it all out. So after Howard left, he passed the torch and gave me a couple paintbrushes and said, "It's all yours." But then city changed some of their rules and stuff, and to my advantage now, I can just pick up the phone or send an email to Ray Cordero or the state and, hey, there's graffiti on the wall in front of Radford High School like a couple weeks ago, but they took care of it. But you was, I mean, so good to our community, and I would like to thank both of you. Okay. So we're gonna move on an agenda. We're gonna cover the Salt Lake waterway cleanup. You want to cover that a little bit, Chandra?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, recently on the month of July, we were busy. We had two events going on, and that was the Operation Clean Sweep. And so on the 13th, we gathered almost about 140 people, and volunteers all came out to the Salt Lake Waterway Community Cleanup and Genki ball making. So we made 1,128 balls, and everybody had fun because it was their first time actually playing in mud, literally. Thank you very much to the Shima family. Thank you. And to continue on that, so we really had a fun time. I think, there are many participants here who got their hands dirty and actually, enjoyed making the Genki balls. Well, after 2 weeks, we then had the Genki ball toss, and that was on the 27th. And so we had about almost 90 people that showed up. And again, it was from all ages. but we did the toss right along the Salt Lake Waterway behind our Country Club Village condominium project. But it was a most successful event, and we look forward to the November event that we'll be doing. And again, we're going to do the cleanup event plus the Genki ball making and then the release. So please join us for the November. We'll send everyone information again. And hopefully RIMPAC won't be around. So, we'll have more of the Navy participants. Okay, thank you.
David.
Mr. Barrett.
Chandra, you've done a lot of this work for the canal there behind Country Club Village. Is this something that we should be looking at to expand, let's say, to the Moanalua stream or to the Halava stream? I know you're involved in this because you live right there, so you smell it all the time. But the community that lives around the other streams, they don't have a voice as a group like you do from Country Club Village. Do you think this is something that we should start maybe venturing into, trying to expand it to the different streams in our area? I know down there behind Mapuna Puna, or on the side of Mapuna Puna, that's very stagnant, very stinky. I don't know about Halava. I know there's a flow there, and I know we're trying to clean the debris out of there before we get a heavy rain. But if you're going to get into something like that, I would be interested in.
Sure. At this point, we're working with the Department of Facility Maintenance as well as DLNR. And the city has been most instrumental in helping us with a lot of the projects. We're at the starting point. So this is really our kickoff, first year event. And so we're looking to do more. The Salt Lake Waterway was just, because it was kind of a neighborhood thing, but we're willing to expand to it. I know that some community groups in District 7, Radiance, area is doing projects throughout the area too. So I don't want to duplicate any of it, but there are some community groups out there that are already working on some of these other waterways too.
Very good.
Yeah, but
Thank
good
you.
question. Thank you.
Thanks.
I wanted to add an update to the Salt Lake Waterway plan, somewhat what Chandra said. And at the beginning of this year in January, we introduced a 5-year plan to the community called Operation Clean Sweep. It was a plan to cleanse the Salt Lake Waterway utilizing bioremediation efforts in the way of Genki balls, similar to what's happening in the cleaning of the Alawai. This plan consisted of quarterly cleanups by the community in removing trash and green waste from the waterway. Our mission statement when we started this was to educate, teach, and create a better tomorrow with community partnerships. Our vision when the 5-year project expires in January 2029 was to turn the Salt Lake Waterway into a waterway that the community can be proud of. No more of this smelly stench, no more stagnant water, no more green waste choking and blocking the flow of water. In 2029, we will see a free flow of clean water where the fish, birds, and ducks can roam the waterway without getting sick or dying. We will see the overgrown weeds and trees removed that clog this waterway. We can then take a leisurely walk in the Howard Shima Likini Street Mini Park and see the beautiful waterway without obstruction. We then can look outside our windows and balconies and enjoy a spectacular view of this waterway with finally fresh air that we can breathe and take in. We then can enjoy a golf course that has the most beautiful waterway and fairways in the state. We then can exercise and bike on the opposite side of the waterway where the Salt Lake District Park connects with the Aliamanu Community Park, having an awesome and unbelievable view of the waterway and of the Honolulu Country Club. This is what we can accomplish in 2029. It will take hard work for everyone, but we can all make this happen by all of our partners working together as one community. This is what I envisioned, and this is what the committee envisioned, and this is what the community can do by working together for our future. So far this year, we have teamed up with our partners to name a few. The city's Mayor Blangiardi had a town hall meeting. He assigned Director Gene Albano to assess the waterway and see how the city can help. Director Albano immediately helped and assisted the committee and community in an attempt to resolve the issue we have with the waterway. City Council member Radiant Cordero and her staff jumped in to join the partnership. Senator Glenn Wakai, Representative Linda Ichiyama, and Representative Micah Ayu, and their respective staffs also joined in the partnership working for our community. The community itself, especially residents of the Country Club Village 1 through 6, the Greenwood Condo, and other residents in the area, also jumped in this partnership. Our military partners of all branches of service, especially the Army and Navy, jumped in as well. And lastly, the committee, you know who you are, the behind-the-scenes people who have made these events a total success with their hard work and dedication, especially Chandra, who coordinates these efforts and keeps everyone informed of the progress we are having at the waterway. On behalf of Neighborhood 18, I thank all of you, and we look forward to working with you for the next 5 years in delivering a beautiful waterway. Thank you. Let's move on to other events and concerns. Mr. Nelson, it's be a good time for you to come up and give your update. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, members of the board and community. My name is Joel Nelson. I'm representing a company called TNT Constructors. Some of you were in the May meeting. I gave an update of an upcoming project to remove an existing water tank there. It's the S2, and I'm mainly here just to update our timeline because we were going to start mid-July, but it is a design project first before construction. So we're just going through that process right now. So currently we're looking towards the end of this month to actually mobilize out there and start construction. I did look at the minutes from then, and there is our presentation we had on there, which gives some more information on that, what to expect equipment wise to see out there. This pamphlet too, which I provided to David as well. He can get up there, has a more updated timeline. There's some in the back, hard copies there for you as well to take. There's also contact information with a phone number, 24 hours, and email with any questions. I'm on the other end of that stuff, so I'll get back to you with the information and any concerns I'll address too as well. We're still on track to finish the new tank in September 2025 right now. But just wanted to give you a heads up. I'll probably be here monthly as construction progresses too, for any questions and just updating on any progress.
Or any questions regarding the water tank replacement project? Go ahead.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. This is on the military property. This is for residences inside the military housing, or
I
for the
believe
general
it
community?
services the base mainly.
Oh, okay.
And
Thank you.
maybe the school, Halikeki School
Yeah.
too as well. Yeah, it's Navy property and Army property.
Okay.
Kind of split that
Mahalo.
area. Yeah, of course.
Audience, you have any questions?
Just outside. For the Navy.
Thank you for coming out.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to city elected officials, Mayor Rick Blangiardi, office, anybody here? Council member Radiant Cordero, in person and live.
It's good that I don't have to go after Deputy Director Gallagher. I don't have to reach for the sky to pull it back down. Good evening, neighborhood board members, neighbors, community. My name is Radiant Cordero, your council member for this area. And I just want to first off thank one of your I watch all the neighborhood boards afterwards, and I notice how many times I drop my things up here. But first off, I want to thank one of your very own neighborhood board members, Board Member Hind, who also is a Kumu and a well-respected community, Native Hawaiian community member and leader. And she led the city and county of Honolulu's vigil in remembrance of the Lahaina wildfires, and mainly the lives that catastrophic event impacted. And she blessed us with a beautiful oli this morning, oh, I'm sorry, this afternoon at noon at Sandy Beach. So we had with us the mayor, almost all of the council members, just missed one. And then we had a great view of Molokai and Maui. And so thank you very much. And I'm always happy when one of our district members gets to represent us, island wide. So thank you, thank you. With that, I do want to thank also neighborhood board members and Salt Lake community members that came out to the primary urban center development planning committee meeting. Normally we have our meetings during the day, and it was very impactful to have our meetings in our district. Once again, I let you all know that I want to jump at the bit before school started to have the meeting in our community. So we had it last week, I think it was last week, Tuesday at Moanalua High School Library, and I'm very honored. My district was well represented from the different pockets of Lower Aiea, Makalapa, as well as Halava, Aiea Heights, many people from our neighborhood board areas, but also in the Kalihi Kapalama areas. So it was awesome. So thank you very much. It's more of a general plan. It's not specific. It's just setting the goals for our areas. You see that Salt Lake doesn't really have pockets of suggestions for development. As a former board member of this board used to say that 1% of Oahu's population lives on 3 streets of Salt Lake. I know you know which former board member I'm talking about. Former board member Ike, actually. Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you all still for coming out and just listening to the rest of your neighbors in my council district. Next up, I know we talked about the renaming, and also Chair Yomes also brought up my update about the graffiti, so never mind that. And I do want to let everyone know that when I was doing some outreach with the Honolulu Police Department, we had some information that I thought was great to share with everyone. So I coupled one paper and I was like, I'm gonna put it on here. It says Honolulu Police Department is hiring school traffic monitors. So you will be trained by HPD. It will pay $19.33 an hour. They're looking for 2 hours out of your day. And if you are able to, if you look at my report, if you don't have it, it's in the back there, please reach out to Sergeant John Ishikawa, and I have his email here. So I reached out to a bunch of people who were like having Bible study at a mall one day, and then I reached out to certain other senior clubs to see if they were available. So if you know anyone who would want to be a cross traffic monitor, school traffic monitor, that would be awesome. Next, the city is looking for candidates for the Honolulu Charter Commission. So the Charter Commission will be meeting from the beginning of the year in 2025. Oh, no, I'm sorry, excuse me. March 2025 to December 2026. It sounds like a long time, but I'm not sure how often they'll be meeting. I know that I have had some questions already from members of the Salt Lake, neighbors from our Salt Lake area about what the time commitment is. But I'm sorry, I don't know this yet, but I will try my best to get that information and provide that next month. But the main goal is to set the charter questions before the next election. And the next election is set, of course, in 2026. So if you are willing to participate in that, it will be going to the managing director's office, and you can email mdoffice@honolulu.gov. You still have a bit of time before that deadline. Next up, I want to follow up on some questions that Board Member Baird, as well as Board Member, I think it's Board Member Baird that brought these up about the different laws. So first off, I'm not trying to correct HPD, but I I know that HPD D3 is, they're focused on Pearl City. So basically Dillingham, that would not be consisting of a business district. It's really Waikiki or downtown. There are, sorry. Okay. It's okay. And then, yeah, so in a residential area, but I'll look for specific maps and try to print them out and give it to the board or have emailed to the chair and have it distributed that way. I think that would be good. As for the.
I thank you and Joe thanks you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Next step for the e-bicycles, laws were made by the state legislature and then given to the counties to look for, I guess, either expanding of those laws. I spoke to both officers and they mentioned that there is a committee to talk about e-bikes. We know that if we continue to give HPD more laws to enforce, it may, I mean, it's all up to the discretion, first off. Secondly, they would have to decide like which person to chase if they're in a group. And three, it's a liability, but also, if we give them more laws, it's just going to convolute the amount of laws that they're enforcing as well. So I asked them if they know if the e-bike committee is looking at, I guess, which laws to consolidate. And I think they will be recommending which policy decisions to make when it then comes to the council for adoption to then become an ordinance. So I will keep you all updated. It is something that Robert Sato from my office has been following up on, I want to say quarterly, since the state legislature, I guess, punted it to the next step, which is to the counties. So been following up on that. Robert Sato from my office will be a good person to be in touch with about that. But I will follow up with him so I can bring it back. Next up, I think that's it for now. I do want to note that we officially swore in, I want to say on the mayor's highlights, the Honolulu Ocean Safety Department Director. I know that I mentioned that we made the department, so we officially sworn him in a few weeks ago. I don't know the timeline right now, but yes, that's all I have at this moment. I want to thank you all. I really appreciate you all.
Board, any questions for the council member? Mr. Baird?
Thank you. This Urban Center Development Plan meeting, how many people on our board went to this? David, okay, Chanda, okay, I should have gone to it. I didn't. It might have been a bad day for me.
I can, wait.
No, that's.
I think a link might not be good.
Oh, okay. Well, my computer.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
I know the hamsters run as fast as they can.
I remember.
Okay. I want to bring something. I was going to wait until talk to the mayor's rep, but well, oh well. You guys, the state, or the city and county has been putting speed bumps around. I would like to see a speed bump put up in front of Radford High School, because the drag strip that we have coming from the freeway, underneath the freeway, all the way along there, all the way up to where Target is, it's a straight line, and the kids use it as a drag strip. If we put a speed bump right in front of Radford High School, it slows down all traffic so that it controls the cars in the area that there more kids are at. I don't think putting it at the intersection or maybe even before the intersection, but I think that's something that we should look in and have this city and county say, yeah, we can put one here or here, and this one we think is the best one. But I think along that strip would help, just like the ones on Cam Highway, after you come off the freeway.
Remember, Baird, are you talking about Salt Lake Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying no. I do want to note that we, of course, will study it and determine the distance between the different stoplights as well as, left turns. I understand, Board Member Godfrey. But so that's why I'm not saying no. I just want to let you know and mitigate expectations for the community that if it's not speed bumps, I always like to say that I would also look at any other speed mitigation measures in addition to looking at the speed bumps request. And I only say that because there are a lot of closer stoplights there, as well as dedicated left turns. And the width of that part of Salt Lake Boulevard is also something that will be taken into consideration. Once again, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying the things that they would have to consider.
Well, take this in consideration. At 3 o'clock in the morning, the kids don't care about the stoplights. At 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll slow down for the bumps. You know, that's one way of looking at it. The other thing, Salt Lake Boulevard is 6 to 7 lanes wide there in front of Radford High School. If you're going to put a speed bump there, put it all the way across the road, both directions. Because if you only put it one direction, the kids are going to drive around them. But that's only my input, so there's, 2 cents worth, okay? And I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Council member,
Yes.
can you hold off on that speed bump issue? A couple weeks ago, I sent to the board members if they could send me any ideas they had for future agenda items. And I had a couple of the board members respond to that, and I put it on my list. And Mr. Beard, I would like to put that on our agenda, maybe in October or November, and have the pros and cons of having speed bumps on Salt Lake Boulevard, and invite the community to speak on for or against that particular issue. So if you can hold off, and I'm going to put that on the agenda in October and November. And regarding the reason I asked the board members to let me know what they would like to see as future agenda items, we already have about 15 that I have listed. And I know you said primary urban center development, really doesn't apply too much for our area, but I think it does because there's a couple items. And I want to make a list for all the city and state government officials so they know that this board wants to entertain these ideas on behalf of the community to get things done. And since we took over the airport, we would like to see, and have that on our agenda on one of these meetings, that we build a hotel next to the airport that connects to the airport, like all major airports that I travel to. They have a hotel connected directly into the airport. I don't know where they would put it, maybe moving the post office a little back and have it attached to Terminal 2 or somewhere, or closing off Rogers Boulevard and making a hotel there and making it another way around to get to the terminals. But it's still in discussion, but I want to put that on the neighborhood board agenda for one of these meetings. But we do want to have that urban center development know that there's a couple projects that we're looking at, and one of them was the airport, to build maybe a 25-story hotel connected to the airport. We only have really two hotels, the Plaza Hotel and the Airport Hotel, pretty old, not very high. So we're looking for a larger scale airport that tourists might want to stay at, be closer to the airport, and rail is right there. They can jump on rail. So a lot of positives that we want to explore. So another issue regarding the urban development that you might want to put in your list, we're kind of looking at having we want to see a senior housing development right at K Lagoon, covering up the front entrance of Lagoon, building a senior development where they can play tennis and pickleball. Yeah. They can jump on the rail right next. There's a rail stop there. So that's another maybe 10, 15-story senior development project that we might be looking at as a neighborhood board. So, so there's other issues, and I'm going to send you a lot, along with the state government officials, a list of what, as a board, what we're looking at to put on our agenda. So you guys get the heads up of what we're trying to plan and what we'll be putting on our agenda for future references.
Thank you, Chair. I do want to add, for clarification, when I mentioned that the primary urban center is, I guess, not related, I mean in a way where it's not granular and prescribing specific requirements to a neighborhood and conditions for a neighborhood. With that, there's other bills at play. I know for the past year and a half, actually, no, the past 5 years, even before I became a council member, I was reporting to this board about different bills about the land use ordinance. The land use ordinance is going through its different reiteration now it used to be Bill 10 when Bill 10 before, and now it's Bill 64. And that's where we can look at the different heights, the different uses, and that's what the land use ordinance would be mainly for. So first off, I'm not knocking off the primary urban center, but it's like high level kind versus there's other ways we can address it, whether it be through that land use ordinance bill. But also, I did mention during the meeting that I think it's prime when we are working after adopting certain transit-oriented development bills. I think you may have heard the different Department of Planning and Permitting staff mention that you can address these in the TOD plans or X, Y, and Z, or this type of bill. So that's all I'm sharing. I would like to, if I get all those ideas, would like to see where it fits in the best format. But not all of it will have to go into the primary urban center. But I'm here to help guide us all and work with all of you.
Audience, any questions for the council member? Mr. Barrett?
Is there another urban center development plan scheduled for, like 8 months down the road or a year down the road? I'm sure you're not going to have one next month, but is there another one?
Are you specifically for our area, or are you looking at,
Yeah, let's say specifically for our area.
okay, so after we have all of our different community meetings, that's a great question. After we have all of our community meetings, it will then go to the Planning and Economy Committee meeting, which will be slated for, I'm not sure when the September committee meeting is, but September. And that's when it will be taken up as a whole for consideration of amendments or discussions thereafter. But we're having all the different specific community meetings in the communities for the next, I don't know however many weeks we are having it. So maybe 6, 8 weeks.
I don't know if I can attend them, but if there's any in our area, I'd like to know.
Okay.
Okay. And David, I will send you a letter on that, on the speed bumps. Thank you.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Board Member
Oh, Mr.
Mura.
Moore.
Okay, Mike, my thing is, before I ask you this question, is there anybody from the Salt Lake widening project here tonight? Salt Lake widening, okay. There's no one.
Was there a
This is for you then, I guess. The question will be directed to you. This was brought to my attention today only. Okay, I've been out sick for the last 2 weeks, so I'm kind of better now. So I don't have to wear a mask and that kind of thing. I'm good.
Yeah, my
But-
son's sick.
That was pretty bad. But anyway, this morning and this afternoon, a resident told me, and then my sister told me this about, when Aliamanu Intermediate School ends in the afternoon, there's a hill, right, on Salt Lake Boulevard, the top of the hill where the church is, the road coming down to the shopping center. It's only one lane, and the whole lane is blocked because there's only one lane to pick up the kids at Aliamanu Intermediate, and no car can move through there. So can you check on that? Or see this, I was hoping a Salt Lake widening guy would be here, maybe that I could ask if there's going to be some kind of remedial action so people aren't frozen on that road for like 20 minutes and then you get a backlog that goes way back.
Thank you, Mr. Amora. I know that they're in different phases of different parts of that phase of the Salt Lake Boulevard widening project. I will have to check the notice, but I don't know if you made a request to your chair to have the Salt Lake Boulevard widening project representatives here, but I can also make that request through your neighborhood assistant, Zoidel Magwai, to get the mayor's rep to provide that information. As you know, he used to be the DDC deputy director. Sorry, he's with his kids. I'm sorry. Yeah.
One last question, council member.
Yes.
We are having a problem, and this is for the state as well. We are having politicians putting up signs all over the community And bad enough, we already have church signs and real estate signs all over the community, but now we have these politicians putting up signs on state and city property, on
Yes.
private property without permission. And one in particular, which I confronted him the last election and made him take it down on a couple of telephone poles. He goes to the telephone pole, he has a carpenter's vest with nails in and a hammer, starts nailing his signs onto these telephone poles all around in all the communities. I drive from Lilia to Waipahu, at least 100 of his signs on city and state property
Yes.
that says Reyes U.S. Congress, small blue and white signs. He was warned already. Who from the city and state is going to have this person stop? And it's not only him, but he's the one with the most signs in the community and is just littering the community with these political signs.
And I'm looking to my state rep, Linda Ichiyama, but I think it's both campaign spending commission as well as our parks. I mean, well, if it's on city or state, of course, if they get requests to take it off, they'll take it off. But of course, they'll just trash it. I mean, and they'll just put it back up, right? But I mean, if they don't know the laws, I think they'll just continue to get fines from the campaign spending commission.
Yeah. The majority,
Property
the
owner.
majority of politicians follow the rules.
Yes.
Couple hard heads, but this guy is just out of control.
It should
He's-
not
He
be on
has
city or state
100
or
signs
federal property.
within the community. In fact, the other day, he put 3 signs up where Mr. Omura lives. I don't know if he's aware of that.
Yeah.
And somebody
that.
took it down this morning. But then he also has signs at the intersection of Alalili and Ali Lima. And I counted, I went all over. In fact, there's 2 signs right out here this evening. Signs right on Nimitz Highway, on the fence line and further down on Nimitz Highway. It's just getting to be a problem. Somebody needs to address it. And like I said, I confronted him. I saw it with my own eyes with him putting up these signs. And that was at the last election. Now there's tons of more signs because he's not being held accountable. And if somebody wants to do something, whatever, I'm willing to be the complainant. So let me know.
Thank you. I do need a name because then I'll just look like I'm a politician who's also running for reelection, complaining about another candidate.
My
you know?
name is
So-
David Yomes, then
Okay.
I'm the complainant.
Okay. Yes, sir. Board member?
Mr. Barrett,
Since we're hitting on signs, political signs,
Yes.
and this has nothing to do with your office or anybody else's office in here. This is something I've noticed over a long time, is that once the election's over with, why do we not have a law that says, okay, Mr. Politician, you have 30 days to remove all the signs you put
There
up?
is a law.
Is
Mr.
there?
Baird, I mean, Board Member Baird.
Well, why isn't it enforced?
Well, I got noticed, so
Oh,
I'm
you
not
did?
sure. I
Okay.
got noticed because I forgot about one by Alo, so.
Oh, well, like up on Waimanu Home Road, right
Yeah.
there by the Sears Distribution Center. Those signs have been up there for years.
Yeah, that's Board of Water Supply property, and we tell Board of Water Supply to either enforce, take it down, or, yeah,
Yeah, that's, okay, that's
But
great to
Board of
know.
Water
I
Supply-
didn't know that.
is focused on what they're focusing on.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
it's not only your district because I drive down Pro City by where the Walmart is.
Yes.
Wanalo Road.
Mhm.
You can count at least 30 signs both directions in Pro City. So it's all over the place. Like I said, I've been to Waipahu as well. Signs all over the place, same person, all the way to Kali and Lilia. So it's a major problem, but
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you. I bet you wish that the city guy was here so you don't have to take all the questions.
No, I'm good. I didn't have to move it up and down.
Thank you, Councilman.
Oh, okay.
This one pertains to, I guess, our Tropicana Manor apartments where I live. All our residents we all got letters either yesterday or today from the Hawaiian Electric Company stating that in writing that they're going to be blocking the electricity and so forth coming down. We all got letters. I just saw it just before I came here. I opened that and so I went to my neighbor's house and I just knocked, asked them about that. And everybody's kind of concerned about that power outage. Is there something the city can do or do I need to talk to the state about that?
So okay, so when you say blocking electricity, are you talking about the rolling?
The rolling outages, yeah, because we don't have enough power because of our, our environmental change.
Right.
So we're low on power.
That's a great question, and that's a question that I asked the mayor, and the mayor's asking, I don't know, whether it be grants to help buildings afford certain generators when the rolling outages occur, or especially businesses, right, that are operating, or a lot of the times people are getting stuck in elevators or whatnot. So we're trying to look for that. As for blocking them from doing so, I mean, I don't think we can do that, but possibly looking at either grants or programs that we can usher through federally and then usher through the city to then give, then allow for, once again, businesses, management, and to, et cetera, to have generators or other backups. I think that was one of the options. I don't know if I should have said that, but that was what we were talking about.
Which part of government communicates and works directly with Hawaiian Electric? Is it the state or the city?
All of us.
All of you
The
guys?
Public Utilities Commission, sorry, excuse me.
Because,
In what way though? In what way are you talking about?
okay, because people want to know, like, they don't want to be taking a shower at 1 a.m. in the morning and then the lights go off. Is there a way to have like notifications saying Salt Lake power outage between 1 and 2 or 1 and 3? So that way, you know, where the residents knows that, hey, you know what? The power is going to go out. So right now, see, if things happen, it's like the fear that people have in my area is that it's going to be like a sudden, you know, you're coming home, or like you say, you're in the elevator, then all of a sudden, boom, the power goes off. Whereas like if the notice is out stating, these are the times this is going to go off between this street, this area, this district, et cetera. Because right now there's nothing.
Remember, Mura, I will regulate that question to our state representative. And I do know that from my opinion, as a resident, I would have loved to have gotten a push notification while I was in Kalihi, doing things when different outages occurred. So, thank you. Thank you.
But just to information for the board, there was a July 31st article in the Civil Beat that talks about signage, and it lists the laws that pertains to. It also gives some hints into the kind of bureaucratic nightmare the signages are to not just residents, but also the different regulators, whether it's the Campaign Spending Commission, the Ethics Commission. But yeah, one of the things it talks about is, you know, especially if it's on property that's, you know, near and dear to you, just take them down. And your guy that you mentioned is famous. He's all up in the article too. I guess he's known for just littering it says from New Valley all the way across. And then the second thing about the HECO, the way that I've addressed any of the utilities companies too, there are regulating bodies and different bodies that intersect with HECO, but you're a paying customer of HECO. I would call HECO directly, or they have, you can actually show up. Oh, I don't know post-COVID though, but I know before I used to go down and pay my bill at Hawaiian Electric on Ward Avenue, but you can walk in and just kind of demand some answers, right? You can call them and demand answers. You can write them. You can email and demand answers for that. Also make suggestions. And, you know, it's in dealing with the more bureaucratic those agencies are, the more squeaky wheel you got to be too. So just, you know, just like how we're squeaky wheels on this table, you know, at times, and we just keep saying the same things. With that tenacity, go straight to HECO. And then when you find out your answers, come back and tell us. Yeah, mahalo.
David? Yeah. Your statement about walking in and paying at HECO, you can't do that anymore. I tried like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Ward Avenue. I walked in there and it was like, oh no, we don't do that here anymore. You got to go online. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, this is your building, you know? So, but yeah, you can't do that anymore. Yeah. Thanks.
Anybody from Governor Green's office? Okay, moving on to Senator Wakai.
Wait.
Don't be shy, come up.
Okay, all right. Aloha mai kako. My name is Diamond Badajos, and I am the Information and Community Relations Officer at the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and I'm here on behalf of Governor Green's office. So last month, I was asked about the noise cameras, and I did get a response from DOT, so I did want to read that verbatim for the group. So the question was, do these noise cameras, do they fall under DOT or with the city? And the answer was yes, noise cameras fall under HDOT. Act 63, signed into law in 2023, requires the HDOT to develop and implement a pilot program to use noise detection traffic cameras in the urban area of counties with a population greater than 500,000, essentially Honolulu. We are in the process of procuring a vendor to provide the equipment and service for the pilot program. Once the vendor is contracted, we will begin rolling out the program. The project will be concentrated in the Honolulu area and may be expanded to other parts of the island following results of the 2-year pilot program. Input from the community will be very helpful in evaluating the program and how to extend it beyond the initial pilot period. We look forward to receiving the board's input once the program is up and running. So that's that. I don't have anything else to report, but happy to take any questions for the state or the governor's office.
Board, any questions? Mr. Barry?
This pilot program, have they decided where they're going to put the cameras?
I believe it was in the Waikiki area.
Right, right. But I mean, is it expanding to different areas? I mean, can we put in a request to have one put somewhere in our district, or is that no?
Well, the way that I understand the statement, it's gonna be, they're gonna service that area first for 2 years and then do a study and then decide if they want to expand it out.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Audience, any questions for the governor's office? Ms. Hine?
Mahalo, Diamond, for appearing here on behalf of the governor's office. I'd like to, and you can take this back to Kali and both the governor's office. Thank you for Department of Hawaiian Homelands extending their resources to assist the governor in their efforts to reach out to neighborhood boards. I appreciate you guys' time, and mahalo to you for coming. I know you have young Keiki at home, and please make sure that message gets up to Kali and the governor's office.
I
Mahalo.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Diamond.
Thank you.
Moving on to Senator Wakai, his office. Representative Linda Ichiyama.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Neighborhood Board. I circulated copies of my report. Just wanted to remind everybody that it is hurricane season through the end of November, and my report has some tips on how pet owners in particular can be prepared for natural disasters. Also happy to answer the question from Board Member Omura about regulation of HECO. So that falls under the Public Utilities Commission. And there also is the Office of the Consumer Advocate in Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. And they represent the public. They represent us, are the ones who pay the bills. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Office of the Consumer Advocate. His name is Michael Angelo, 2 separate, Michael Angelo. And he's a great guy, really helpful. But I also know that HECO posts in advance when they know that there will be blackouts, which areas and what times on their website. So you can go on the website and check in advance. They also do news releases. I know Senator Wakai, even though he's not here tonight, sent an email blast to our whole district about the recent ones to notify folks what areas would be affected. So there's a couple different ways to get that information. Happy to answer any
Board,
questions.
any questions for our representative, Ms. Hine?
What branch does that person sit in, the consumer advocate again? Is that in the state?
Department of Commerce and Consumer
DCCA.
Affairs.
Okay. Mahalo.
DCCA,
Mahalo.
yeah.
Audience, any questions? Thank you, Representative Ichiyama. Moving on to Representative Ayu.
Hello, board members. Good evening. Just 2 quick things from my report. So I want to let everyone know that Board of Water Supply will be doing work in Foster Village on Halupa Street. They're going to be replacing a water main line. Work is going to be starting on or about August 19th and go through the end of the 3rd quarter. And so if you have any questions, you can contact Board of Water Supply at 808-748-5730. And my other thing I'd like to report on is a lot of, two more things actually. So I've been talking to a lot of people in Foster Village. The Army is going to be doing grass cutting maintenance along Halupa Street on the backside of those homes and Molehu Drive. So that is scheduled to happen in the next couple weeks for fire protection or fire safety concerns. So grass cutting is going to be happening in that area. And then the last thing, a lot of individuals have been reaching out about bus services for elementary schools. I can report that there was a press release today that DOE is going to be restoring the 34 previously suspended routes for bus service. So in our district, Aliamanu Middle School is affected as well as one of the middle schools. So bus services will be resuming.
Hey, board, any questions for the representative? Audience, any questions for the representative? Ms. Hunting?
And this is for Rep. Ayu and Rep. Ichiyama, then also council member, if so the bus shortage is a critical problem that we know was on the horizon. It's because we can't attract enough bus drivers into that field anymore. And I work for an organization that we do trades programs too. And I would, if you guys can, in this upcoming legislative session, put monies towards trades development, especially in those critical areas. I know previously critical areas that we've looked at in workforce development have been like nursing, right, has gotten a lot of funds, and some of the other trades. But this one is a kind of weird one because it sits in that pay range that's not the high, pay range that say like nursing or some of the other trades industries are, but so critical. Like we saw families literally like just panicking about to lose it this past week because that transportation is so needed. And I know that'll go far. So in you guys' upcoming sessions, if you guys do workforce development, especially workforce development funding, yeah, let's do a partnership between the city and the state.
So I can go first, but I can tell you that we took on a lot of those initiatives this past year. Buying mini buses, increasing salaries, and what we were told from DOE was that they had it under control. And so I'm not sure if any of those, because of that, what they represented to us, if we passed any of those bills, not necessarily what you're talking about workforce development, but we tried to take on that because we had the foresight for that, but they said they had it under control. So, all right.
I'll just add that I know the University of Hawaii Community Colleges is trying to do a CDL workforce development project. So I think they know the need is out there, and I think they're a great place at the community colleges to get that started.
Thank you.
And then I have one last thing for Board Member Baird. DOT is looking into installing a speeding camera as well as a speeding camera at that intersection that you're talking about. So someone else reached out about that. It's not going to catch, maybe the moped drivers or something, but if there are cars speeding and they have license plates, we had a pilot program that was the first 12 speeding cameras. They're looking at rolling out in that intersection. I've already raised it with them.
Are they going to have the sound or just the motion?
So what I'm told is that one camera can do multiple things. All they need to do is activate it or not activate it if they want to. So if the pilot program that we were talking about earlier for sound is a success, they want to continue rolling it out, then, if it's already there, they can add that on or turn that portion on in that area if they'd like to.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody here from our federal elected officials? Let's move on to presentation. We have a phone news regarding the Christmas parade.
Good evening, everyone, the board and community. I was kind of just looking over, I guess, the minutes from the last meeting. It was super awesome just to see that you guys have been talking about a community parade for a while. At the same time, our church was kind of planning a community parade. And so since the last board meeting and today, I was able to meet with Chair Yomes and some of the council members. And kind of compare plans, and we decided to hopefully just move forward together because we're just kind of better together. And so there's some kind of modifications, at least to the route than what I was reading from the minutes. And so the main thing, or our main goal this year, is just to get a parade accomplished. And so we're not going too crazy with it. We just want to get this first one under our belt and then kind of move forward with that. And so right now our route starts from Wanalo High School. That's the staging area. It'll go across the street. If you're familiar with the homecoming parade, it's very similar, just a little longer. And so it'll go across toward the shopping center in that community around by Salt Lake Elementary, and then back up Bikini Street to the high school. And so that's right around 2 miles. We're actually looking at starting it maybe just a little bit later than what you guys proposed. So it'd start at 6:30 and around 7:30. The theme of it would be Light the Night, and so that's why we're starting it a little later so that we can see the Christmas lights and everything on the floats. I guess the process that we're at right now is this is going to be a big one, just a stamp of approval from the board. Permit is already actually submitted, and so if all of that goes through, we're actually in a pretty good spot to have this happen. The date is going to be the same date that was proposed, December 14th, so that's a Saturday. Yeah.
Board, any questions regarding the Christmas parade? Chandra?
Could you give your name? And
Sure,
what
my
your
name is-
associ- Yeah, because you know what, I don't think everybody knows.
That is-
because it's being televised.
Yeah, my name is Landon Mauricio, and I'm from Called Ministry. Mauricio. First name is Landon, Landon. It could be my email. So my first name, Landon, so Landon at calledministry.org. CALLED ministry.org.
Audience, any questions regarding the Salt Lake Christmas parade? Thank you, Len.
Yep.
Moving on to our presentations. Got the Red Hill Registry, Tara Sutton.
Thank you, Board, for having me. My name is Tara Sutton, and I am a resident. I live on Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, but I am here as a representative of the University of Hawaii. Let me pull up my notes so that I don't flounder. I was thinking there would be like a presentation for that I would have PowerPoints, so I modified. Basically, what I wanted to make sure that everybody in this neighborhood understood was that the University of Hawaii was able to announce back in June that they received an award to put forth a Red Hill Health Registry. And it is to provide for community services, health information, all sorts of things for anybody who lives on the Navy water line. This call for help has been supported by the CDC, the ATSDR, DOH, and Hawaii's congressional delegation. The award was supported through a multi-year grant with National Center for Disaster Medicine and Public Health and the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences. So right now we're entering into our first year of planning with formal registry enrollment expected to begin around fall of 2025. The key focus areas of this planning year include registry foundation, community engagement, and a feasibility assessment. So along those lines, what we're looking at is with establishing the registry's foundation, we are looking at governance, office setup, IT infrastructure, and HIPAA compliant systems for secure data management. Our team spans across the UH system and includes scientists, doctors, and data security experts, and continues to grow steadily. For example, there's a job currently open. It closes tomorrow. This position is the project administrator role, which will involve managing the fiscal and operational aspects of the Red Hill Registry, coordinating key activities, ensuring compliance with regulations, and maintaining all necessary records to support the registry's mission effectively. I have a QR code if anybody's interested in seeing that job posting. I can show you the QR code later. But the second thing of our priorities is community engagement. So that is my role specifically. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for the registry in the Office of Strategic Health Initiatives at the university. So what I will be doing is planning to host listening sessions with impacted Navy waterline users who are both military and civilian community members. I'll be speaking with healthcare professionals and other community leaders and setting up a community oversight workshop to ensure that the registry is truly co-created with the community. If anybody here in the community or you board members want to stay informed about this process as we go through this planning year, then you can go to redhillregistry.org and subscribe with your email address to receive email updates. If you have questions about the registry and want to get in touch with me, obviously you can ask tonight, but if you think of more later, my contact information is T Sutton, T for Tara, Sutton is SUTTON, at redhillregistry.org. Emailing me doesn't sign you up for the updates though. And if you want to know about future job positions, you can email me and I'll make a list and let people know as more positions become available because we are growing fast. Finally, we are also conducting a feasibility assessment, which has been requested by Congress in the 2024 NDAA. So with that, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Red Hill Registry to the community who recognized that there was a problem with the Red Hill fuel spill and for fighting for answers and help.
Board, any questions? Ms. Hine?
Mahalo, Chair. One, what is the nexus between you folks at the University of Hawaii and the Department of Navy? Do you guys have any transparency between the two or any agreements?
Like they can talk to us, but we're not sharing anything with them.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, the Doers Registry, which is the registry that the Department of Defense had set up already. We are creating a completely independent health registry that is not in line with that one. However, they will be able to give us contact information for people who are already registered with that so that we can ask if they want to be enrolled in ours. So they're not going to be automatically transferred over to the independent health registry. And the data that we collect will not be shared with the Department of Defense at all.
And are they giving you guys, has the Navy been good with that relationship, providing you guys information?
Yes.
Okay, mahalo. Thank you.
Audience, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Aloha Stadium.
Aloha, Chair Yo. Okay. Aloha, Chair Yomes, members of the board, and members of the community. I'm Chris Kinimaka, Special Projects Manager for the Department of Accounting and General Services, and I'm joined by Deputy Aloha Stadium Manager Chris Sadayasu. We have just one quick announcement for the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District. Last month, we reported that one of our priority listed offers pulled out of the procurement process. We're happy to report that the remaining priority listed offer, Aloha Halawa District Partners, did submit a successful proposal in time for the July 31st deadline. We're now going through their proposal, scrutinizing it very carefully with our evaluation committee and our technical advisors to make sure it meets the requirements of the RFP and that we're bringing special value to the state with their proposal. We hope by this time next month, we'll be able to announce whether or not they'll continue as a preferred offerer. If they do continue as a preferred offer, then we enter into that 9-month due diligence and discussion phase, after which we hope to then enter into a successful contract by June of next year, and therefore still be on target for 2028 completion and the UH football games. But as we reported, even though we only have one proposal, we have a very diligent process. They still have to meet all the requirements of the proposal to make sure that we're getting a very effective plan to move forward for the stadium and the whole district. And with that, I'll open up for any questions on NASED.
Board, any questions? Ms. Hine?
Aloha, mahalo, Chair. I looked at the the organization that put their offer through, did they subsume some people from the other parties, the second parties, contractors, subcontractors into their proposal?
So what happened was that we did have multiple procurement processes. We had an initial procurement process several years ago, and I think if you recall, that was just for a stadium. And then we came up with a second procurement for the real estate. And finally, this was our third procurement under Governor Green that put it all together. Those teams were allowed to reform, to put their proposal together. They were also allowed to look at other proposals who did not get successfully listed as a priority listed offer. What they have to do that, though, is they would have to request for a substitution or amendment to their team. And then we have to ensure that the new team is equal to or better to what they proposed in the qualification stage. You remember from December, they had to show who their team was, and we looked at the qualifications and said, you're now a priority listed offer. So they have to be equal to or better if they want to do that.
All right, mahalo.
Audience, any questions for the stadium? Go ahead, Mr. Shimuzo, you can come to the microphone, please.
Thank you, Chair. If the offer falls short in any way, is there some discussion for them to correct their offer, or are they automatically disqualified?
It's a very good question, and there's some very basic requirements that they have to meet just to get into being a preferred offer. Those shouldn't be that difficult, but that's where we're working very hard now to go through their proposal. If they make it into the diligence and discussion phase, that's when they can really polish up their proposal, tighten it up, look at areas that we have more questions on that we believe are correctable. So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect at this time. And that's why we went into what we call the progressive procurement. This proposal, unlike many requests for proposals, does not have to be 100% complete. So they're giving conceptual designs, conceptual master plans, but we want to see what their financial plan is going to be like. We want to see what their whole team plan is for executing their project. If it looks sound, then the diligence and discussion phase is where we really get into the details. And that's when they're going to come out and talk to you again. So that's where we make sure, is your design solid? Is your financing coming through? That allows them to really not have to spend $10 million for a final proposal at this time. But once you become a preferred offer, then the rubber meets the road, and they have to get all their brass tacks in line to get the 100% contract. So good question. Can they still be unselected or not selected as a preferred offer? Yes. If there are fatal flaws in their proposal, they could be not identified as a preferred offer. And then we could look at, we did look at possibilities of negotiations into their contract there. But there is that possibility that we end up without a contract. And again, that's because we want to make sure they meet the standards and the requirements. We're not just rolling over and playing dead because there's only one offer.
Real quick, I passed a couple of days ago the Stadium Marketplace. They have a big for lease sign there. Is the state having any plans through the stadium or NASD trying to get that building maybe as a multi-level parking structure or a couple restaurants? Is that in play?
So that's outside of our district at this time. We are able to collaboratively work with the community and other developers outside, but that would not be actually within the purview of our project.
Ms. Hine?
No.
Two questions. So who is their contract being reviewed by? Is that an internal stadium process, or does it go to SPO, state SPO office to determine all those points of procurement?
It's a very good question. So in this case, because the Department of Accounting and General Services is the centralized capital improvement program procurement agency, the Stadium Authority did come to DAGS, and DAGS is administering the procurement process. The comptroller did sign on to say that he qualified an evaluation committee to do the detailed evaluation. So the committee is comprised of at least 3 government officials and specialty consultants, along with the or state team, excuse me, that makes sure that we have financial, legal, construction, even stadium expertise to really scrutinize the proposal. The technical advisors also come from the industry and our own consultant team to again make sure that we understand all the details in the proposal. You can imagine it's,
Right.
you know, our RFP was like 1,000 pages. There's a lot to go through, but we made sure we have the expertise we need.
Is there, just to bounce off of that, Chair, if you indulge me, is there an EIS process that's going to be required for this?
So we did already complete the programmatic EIS for the whole district as the state and the stadium authority projected we would want to see. If the developer varies from that, they would have to amend the EIS and come back out to the community to go through the whole process. Yeah.
Mr. Beard?
Thank you. In looking to the future, has anybody come up with a date that the construction of the stadium will start?
So we're looking at demolition starting in 2025. We know that the developer will want to accelerate both the stadium and the district development, probably simultaneously, because the district is going to bring in revenue to help offset costs for the stadium. We're hoping by 2026 they start, and that's what they're going to have to do to hit 2028.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So quickly turning to the swap meet activities that we have. We're celebrating the 45-year anniversary of the swap meet. And so this month's feature will be Everything 90s. Sunday, August 25th from 10 to 3 p.m. There'll be a golden ticket event going on there where 250 shoppers will find a golden ticket located around various vendor booths, and you'll receive a limited edition Aloha Stadium patch. And that's building upon the 80s celebration that just took place last month. And there'll also be a celebration zone at the volcano statue and the South Stadium entrance. And then the other thing that we want to announce is that the Megabond 2024, building upon last year's success, will be held Saturday, September 27th from 4 to 9 p.m. It'll be in our lower Halava lot. And the JCI Honolulu and Hawaii Toa Daiji will be hosting that event at the Aloha Stadium, and with more food and specialty vendors, and their website is www.megabondhawaii.com. So thanks.
Audience, any questions? Thank you.
Yes, David.
Mr. Beard, make it shorter. We're at the 15-minute mark.
I know you're going to be moving the vendors from where they're at now down to the lower part of the parking lot. Do you have any idea when that's going to happen?
It'll go in conjunction with the demolition of the stadium. So once they need to cordon off that area per the dust screens and the like, that's when we'll transition down. So we're looking in early to mid 2025.
Okay, and with this golden ticket, do you get a chocolate bar?
No.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Anybody from the schools? Okay, let's go with military, Army, you up?
Good evening, Board Member Yones, our Chairman Yones, and board members and community. Liana Kim, Army Representative. Beloved Colonel Pratt is taking some much needed leave this week, so filling in for him. I have just two quick updates from Army Garrison Hawaii. One is about the next hiring fair, which will be on Friday, August 20th at Aliamanu Military Reservation Training Room. So that's all the way up by the Dole Cannery, just past Schofield. It's beginning at 8:30 a.m. and ends at 2 p.m. and it's open to the public. For more information, you can go to www.himwr, which is short for Hawaii Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. So www.himwr.com for the August 20th job fair. The second announcement is a training advisory coming up for a major exercise that the 25th Infantry Division will be conducting from late September until mid-October. It is called JPMRC, which stands for Joint Pacific Multinational Readiness Center. They've been doing it for a few years now. It's one of our newest joint exercises, but it's in cooperation with the Joint Pacific Multinational Readiness Center and the 196th Infantry Brigade. The initial forecast is for about 1,000 multinational participants expected from Malaysia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Thailand, the UK, Japan, Singapore, Maldives, Australia, and Canada. So a lot of the same countries we just had here for RIMPAC. But the notice is that this will cause an increase in traffic and noise across the island. For any concerns that the community has, there is a brand new community concern line, which is 808-787-1528. And community members can also go to the website, which is USAG, which is short for U.S. Army Garrison, .hawaii.comrel, COMREL, which is short for Community Relations, at army.mil. And again, the phone number 808-787-1528. Thanks for your time. Any questions from the board?
Board, any questions for the Army? Mr. Moore?
Yeah. Is it you guys that are also having something this month as well? I got an email from David stating that I don't know if it's the Army or Navy or something. Anyway, it's going to be like live training, all kinds of whatever noise and so forth throughout this month. I haven't heard anybody say anything about it, so I'm not sure if it's you guys or you guys.
Thank you for good question. I usually just save these for if there are questions, but there are routine training going on in the Schofield barracks area or on Schofield. Let's see, we've got artillery and mortar fire, August 1 and 2, 5 through 9, and 29th. Demolitions training, August 16th and 17th. On the East Range, they will be doing range and jungle tactics and small arms blank fire from 6 in the morning to 6 at night on August 2 through 9, 12 through 17, 19 through 24, 26 through 30. And then just the last thing is about the JPMRC that I just told you about. So, but those will all be within the Schofield area and just U.S. Army folks. But good question.
Audience, any question for the Army? Yeah, they were sent that email blast that you sent me, so they're informed.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
U.S. Navy?
Good evening and aloha, Chair Yoms and board members. We're just going to you've got the complete litany of all the activities that we're doing. So Povik and I are going to give just a few of the highlights. One of the things that we wanted to point out is that Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill is going to be hosting an open house on August 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Honolulu Terrace Community Center. The public, of course, is invited to learn more about current tank cleaning, ongoing closure operations, and drinking water updates. On July 22nd, Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, Navy Region Hawaii, and the Closure Task Force conducted a spill drill exercise. Exercise included fed fire and other emergency responders and was designed to measure spill containment and public advisory abilities of the Closure Task Force team. Representatives from Department of Health and the Environmental Protection Agency were there to observe the drill. And I just wanted to remind everybody as well that, there's been a couple of years, first long-term monitoring of the drinking water, and now it's been extended with the extended drinking water monitoring plans. have been more than 10,000 drinking water quality tests that have been certified in EPA laboratories or EPA's certified laboratories, and the results are available at the Safe Waters website, which is jbph-safewaters.org. And if anybody has any concerns about if you're on the Navy water drinking system and you have any concerns, the Navy Water Quality Action Team has a 24-hour helpline, and that number is 808-210-6968. Uncle Vic.
Good info, Brother Chuck. Victor Flint, Naval Facilities. Rep Linda. Hurricane drills. Navy is involved with stakeholders and other agencies with HUREX drills now. So that's awesome. Noise. Army training. Navy is wrapping up the big RIM pack exercise, the world's largest maritime exercise. But this year is a bit different because part of the exercise is emergency response, emergency rescue, and restoration and rehabilitation. Unreal. And that went from June 27th to August 1st. That's power. Aircraft noise and other noise, you can report that. Just go on the Joint Base website. You'll see noise complaints. Do your thing. And what else? That's it. That's all I have. You have our written report. Are there any questions?
Board, any questions for the Navy? Audience, any questions for the Navy? Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Board of Water Supply.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Llanos, and I'll be representing Board of Water Supply tonight. I'm going to start with some questions and concerns that we had from last month. One of the concerns or questions was what the status is of our 30-year water master plan. And I'm here to report that the Board of Water Supply is starting the process to update our 30-year water master plan. The contract of the Board of Water Supply's water master plan is in the process of being executed, and the plan revision should take about 2 years to complete. And relating to the master plan, there's a question of, will the pipes be replaced in increments, and how many miles of pipe will be replaced per year? So yes, the pipes will be replaced in increments. Please note that BWS pipe replacement goals do change every year, but the overall goal is to replace 21 miles of pipe per year. We were on track and increasing each year until COVID hit, and then the Red Hill spill, which required us to reprioritize our projects. But in fiscal year 2024, replacement that was included in new design projects, and 1.8 miles of pipeline replacement were included in our construction projects. So that is concerns from last month. I'm going to move on to my monthly report. There aren't any main breaks to report from last month, so I'm just going to be talking about the general water announcements. I'm going to be talking about the Board of Water Supply Household Questionnaire. I passed them out to our board members in the front, but the Board of Water Supply is participating in a water access and affordability survey taking place in communities across the country. We encourage the public to fill out the questionnaire through Sunday, September 15th. It should take approximately 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Your input will assist the BWS to implement programs that better help vulnerable residents, including our kupuna. And of course, responses are confidential. Copies of the questionnaire are available at tonight's board meeting. I also left some papers in the back with a QR code if people are interested in taking the survey at satellite city halls and at www.boardofwatersupply.com. So that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board, any questions with Ms. Sain?
Thank you, Chair. Just one, and this one is a question for now, but if you can take it back and then answer it next month.
Okay.
And that is, what is the Board of Water Supply's intersection, or when is it with new developments that are coming up? At what point is that, do you guys intersect with that process? Because I see development happening, and I'm just like all the other infrastructure kinds of costs on the environment, right? The wastewater, rubbish, sewer, and water. Yeah, just super curious at when that nexus happens. When does the development, people say, we're gonna put up, we're gonna add in, 150 units in this area. Do they have to come, when do they have to come to you guys to say, to get approval that you guys are gonna make available water for that much residences or that density? Yeah, and this kind of how that works. So you don't have to answer that now though. You can take that back and come back next one, unless you know already, like if that's a quick thing.
I can answer that now.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, actually, yeah, that's what my section does. We work with we check if our existing water system can serve proposed projects, or if our existing system is adequate to serve proposed projects. So developers would email us or write us a letter with their proposed projects, kind of like what you were saying. We are proposing however much units at this TMK. Maybe it's an affordable project, maybe it's not. And so system standards saying, oh, maybe 200 gallons per day for each single family home or things like that. And so we estimate the water demands, and we have a model, a computer model of our existing water system. We check if there's a hydrant within adequate offsite fire protection distance for adequate offsite fire protection, if it can produce the required flow for whatever it is. For example, for single family homes, that requires a hydrant to be within 350 feet of the parcel and provide 1,000 gallons per minute fire flow. And we check for other things too, but that's just one example. But if everything is okay, then we do provide the developer with a letter saying the existing water system is adequate for this proposed project, and whatever other requirements that we have. But yeah, like my section specifically, yeah, we're the first ones that get proposals from developers. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Audience, anything for Board of Water? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we're gonna move on to board action. We need to fill a vacated seat on this board. Anybody interested in being a member on this board? Please come forward. We had, I'll let you had anybody come to you and, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Come up to the microphone and introduce yourself. If you're willing to be on this board, your name and say your spiel.
Okay. Good evening, neighborhood board members, members of the community. I'm Kimi Kawasaki. I reside in the Salt Lake area, and I'm interested in applying for the at-large position with the neighborhood board. Yeah, just being able to grow up in this community. It's so easy to take for granted, like being able to live and grow up in such a great community. And so just being able to sit in today and see all the workings that go behind keeping it safe, healthy, and keeping it for all the members here is really appreciate all the work that you guys do. The last time I attended a neighborhood board meeting, I was a senior in high school giving a presentation on the impacts of climate change. Maybe there's a few familiar faces from that time, but I'm happy to be back and reside in Salt Lake after going to college and being here, and I've been interested and willing to learn more and how I can provide and support this community.
Your first name?
It's Kimi, Kimi.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else interested in being on this board?
I would like to nominate someone. If Douglas Fujikura would come up front, I'd like to nominate Douglas Fujikura, who is a resident, and he checked through with Zoidel already.
My name is Douglas Fujikura. I reside in Salt Lake community, and I am the general manager for the Country Club Village Phase 2 Association. And I do feel like it would be an honor to serve on the neighborhood board. Thank you.
Okay, we have Kimmy and Douglas. Anybody else interested in being in this board? Hearing none. You want to take over with this? So we're just going to go ahead and vote, or how are we going to do this? Okay, we have two persons, Kimmy and Douglas, who wishes to be on this board. We're going to take a vote at this time. How many in favor of Kimmy being on this board? Raise of hands would probably be the best thing. Anybody wishing to put Kimmy on this board, please raise your hand. Okay, we got 3. Anybody wishing to have Douglas on this board, please raise your hand. Yeah, I know. Okay, we only have 4. We do have 5. So we do have a majority. And Douglas, you're now on the board and you can take your seat up front.
Hey, should even do that.
Okay, we're running out of time here, so let's finish up this meeting with approval of the minutes of the July 24 regular meeting minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to these minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are adopted as written. The next Aliamanu Salt Lake Foster Village Airport Neighborhood Board 18 regular meeting will be held on Thursday, October 10th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at the same venue. Just to let you folks know, we'll be in recess next month in September, so we will not have a meeting. Again, our next meeting is on October 10th. Can be watched on Olelo at certain times. As far as community reports, we'll save that for October. At this time, I'm gonna end this board meeting. Thank you for coming. This meeting is adjourned.
I'm not sitting down.
Are you sure?
Yeah.